we all know like stimulants are just kind of a band-aid, like a temporary fix thing. Like you're going to get your dopamine spike and then it's going to go away. So it's like, that's not really solving the problem here. At the end of the day, like it really comes down to lifestyle. Like all of the things that I mentioned that can cause brain fog are all related to your lifestyles.
This is Modern Day Hippie. We are your homies who've done nearly every drug under the sun. Over 600 psychedelic trips and nearly every kind of bender you can possibly imagine have armed us with a universe of knowledge. I'm Yuki, and with my co-host Reggie, we talk about how we do drugs in a responsible, safe, and fun way to improve our lives. Before we dive in, and so we don't get sued, a quick legal disclaimer.
This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. Our goal is to educate and inform others about the realities of substance use in an engaging and entertaining format. We share these experiences so you can learn from them without trying them yourself. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to attempt to recreate anything found in this episode or in any of our other content. We are not confessing to any acts stated in this podcast. The content in this episode should not be treated as factual or real in any way.
With that, we welcome you through our portal and hope you enjoy the show. What's up, hippies? Hope you're having a vibey day so far. Reggie, what you got cooking for us today, man?
Man, Yuki. So lately, I've been experiencing a lot of brain fog. You know, I don't know if that happens to you when you just kind of like feel fuzzy, like someone's talking to you, you're at work or something, and then you don't really remember what the fuck they were talking about. Part of you might not care. Like, it's just been hitting me hard lately, man. So I was kind of like trying to look into it, see like what's going on here. Is it like my drug use? Is it something else? And I think I figured out what it was for me personally, but it kind of just led me to kind of exploring this whole world of brain fog and drugs and what that means, what we can do about it, and even just brain fog in general. So let's dive into it, man. The main drug, I guess, that is associated with brain fog from like what, like just mainstream, I guess, is like obviously weed, right? So a lot of people, when they smoke weed, like it's known to kind of give you like some short-term memory issues, like, you know, there's general brain fog, stoner shit, right? Like nothing out of the ordinary, nothing surprising. And then there's a bunch of studies showing that long-term use, like you actually can develop like more long-term brain fog from like using weed for like a really long time, like more than once a week, pretty much is what the studies are showing. But, and that also doesn't surprise me. We all know like that perma-fried stoner who like talks a little slow or something. Nothing wrong with that, you know, totally get it. But so weed's obviously like an easy one. If you are experiencing brain fog and you're a stoner, it's probably just from weed, bro. Like, so that's the first thing that I looked into was like, okay, like how do you kind of mitigate that, right? Because I still want to smoke weed, but I don't want to have brain fog. Apparently, there's like a few different things. Some of them are more like legit than others, but CBD apparently helps with brain fog. It's like neuroprotective, and it'll just like kind of counteract a lot of the like the memory issues that you get from like high THC content. The brain fog is caused by the THC in the weed. And so apparently using CBD can just like kind of help counter that. But I don't know, man. I don't know if you've used a lot of CBD, but when I first was looking into this topic, I actually thought that my use of CBD was causing brain fog. Like just personally, because I bought like this CBD juice that I put into a vape and I started vaping it and I'm like, damn, it's like all the brain fog without getting high. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I don't know if I buy it, man, but the science kind of makes sense. Like there's like research showing that like your immune system can cause inflammation in your brain. It's called like neuroinflation, and that causes brain fog. So since CBD is known to reduce inflammation, it makes sense that consuming CBD could reduce neuroinflammation, which would thus reduce brain fog. But it's not that simple. Like brain fog can be caused by lots of different things. So I don't know, man. Do you have any thoughts on that? I guess like, have you used like CBD like that before?
Very lightly. At some point, I had tried like a couple of CBD gummies that are marketed as just kind of like health supplements or like pre-sleep supplements, things like that. I guess the question I have is, does all weed not have CBD? I thought it was like always some ratio of THC to CBD, but also I don't know shit about weed.
No, dude, good question, actually. So no, apparently, like, especially in today's day and age, a lot of like these like designer strains and shit are designed just to be high THC with no CBD. I don't know why. I guess that's just kind of what people want. But I think like in my experience, like most weed usually has some CBD in it, but like if you're buying wax or something or taking dabs or hitting a cart or like a dab pen or something like that, then it honestly probably won't have CBD in it unless it specifically says that it does. which, you know, there's like some people are pro CBD in their weed. Some people are like don't like it. I don't care. I just want to get high. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. and the thing is, because most people who smoke weed just want to get high, that's probably why these strains have very little CBD in them.
Right.
They just want to be as THC optimized as possible, and they want you to be like, oh, this shit is dank and gets me high as fuck. And then obviously you're gonna like that weed. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think it's ironic that, you know, CBD does have some of these neuroprotective properties. And like, I've read definitely about some of the other benefits of CBD, just like relaxing, like calming aspects of it. So I am intrigued to learn about this topic.
Yeah, it's intriguing, but also the way that the way the articles are written about it, it reminded me a lot about our episode that we did on nicotine, because nicotine also has neuroprotective properties, right? So it's like, I could see how even like something that can be good can also like be bad, right? Just like with anything else, just like quantity, like how much you abuse it, etc. And then also like the way you're consuming it, what you're consuming it with. So like in my case, I might have felt like me hitting my vape with CBD juice in it, well, it wasn't really helping me because of the way that I was ingesting it through a vape, right? Like maybe vaping was just fucking me up, which I think makes a lot of sense. Like if I'm getting inflamed from like inhaling smoke, then how much is the anti-inflammatory properties of what I'm inhaling really going to counteract the physical like inflammation that I'm getting, right? Like, I don't know. So I guess just something to be wary of.
Yeah, no, and like absolutely everything has a downside or some side effects. Like that's life.
Yeah. But it definitely got me more like, I definitely, after reading about that, I want to experiment more with CBD, especially from like a brain fog perspective. But before we get too much into just the rabbit hole of CBD and weed, let's take a step back and talk a little bit about brain fog in general, right? So what causes brain fog? Apparently it's one of those blanket terms that can kind of just like be used to describe any kind of like mental fog, right? So because of that, so many different things can cause it. So you have like a lack of sleep is probably one of the biggest ones, probably the most common one that people see. Yep. That has like a direct tie into drug use, because a lot of these drugs that we talk about, they kind of make you not sleep, right? Like psychedelics, and they kind of stimulate. Even weed, like, will help you go to sleep, but your quality of sleep will go down if you smoke weed before bed. So like, if you're having brain fog and you do drugs regularly, that is probably the lack of sleep that's causing it, not necessarily the drug itself, unless we're talking about like high THC weed, apparently. Then like autoimmune conditions can cause brain fog. That inflammation piece that we were just talking about. I'm like, damn, that sucks for anyone with autoimmune conditions. And then diabetes is another thing, like low blood sugar levels, things like ADHD, autism. And then even things like hormonal changes, like especially for women, like if they're like going through like their period or something, or if they're pregnant or go through menopause. But even for guys, if you have like low testosterone, that can cause brain fog. Like, so, you know, keep it in the gym or whatever. And then the last three things on the list that cause brain fog are poor nutrition, which comes as no surprise to me, honestly. Like, I don't know about you, but like the days where I eat my veggies, I literally can think more clearly than the days where I eat like McDonald's or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's like night and day. And for me, at least, that piece of it happens pretty immediately. Like, if I eat some junk food, then I have brain fog like within the next 30 minutes, and it lasts like a couple hours.
No, dude, I definitely feel that. And I feel more on like the physical, just like tiredness, but it also just, like my brain doesn't want to do anything. It just kind of like turns off, and I can definitely agree with that. Also, I was curious.
Yeah, that's so preventable.
Yeah, it is, but also it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, dude, that fucking cheeseburger sounds real good right now. And then,
yeah, exactly.
And even like in the last year or two, I've gotten so much more conscious of how different foods make me feel after the fact. And even knowing that, like, also I'll go have like some junk food meal every once in a while, and I'll be like, while I'm eating, I'm like, oh, this is so good. And afterwards, I'll be like, I fucking regret that. And it probably reduces my desire to that in the future, but not by a lot. You know, I'm like, like a 5 or 10% reduction in doing like, eating junk, let's say overall. Like, also do it every once in a while, but the trend has definitely been.
Dude, ultra processed foods especially are like some of the strongest drugs, bro. I'm sorry, dude. Like they're so addicting. Like,
yeah, no, and actually,
crazy.
I don't remember the context I was reading or hearing about this in, but some of the chemicals that like the US specifically allows in processed foods that like in any other country in the world are like basically banned. There's some like gnarly shit in there. And honestly, I haven't looked into it enough to like know what specifics, but like, dude, just anything that's processed, it's like that shit is like slowly killing us, like actually. And I think honestly in the coming years, there's going to be a bit of a like evolution, revolution, and fact of, you know, all these like colorfully packaged, just like crap you buy at the stores, just really, really bad for you physically, mentally. Like, yeah, it tastes good and the benefits stop there, like full stop.
Yo, straight up, dude. And honestly, like we haven't even gone through this whole list yet of like things that can cause brain fog, but like I can tell you right now, most people's brain fog is definitely caused by the lack of sleep and then the poor nutrition. Dude, like if you're eating just any kind of standard American diet, then you are fucking yourself when it comes to your brain fog. Like you just like are at such a disadvantage. You're probably malnourished. And then onto like the whole blood sugar level thing affecting your brain fog. Like if you're drinking soda or something with a meal, like your blood sugar's gonna spike and then it's gonna tank. Like all of that shit's gonna cause brain fog, and all of that shit is so preventable. You know, I know like people have different circumstances and everything, but you can still at least try to be considerate of what you're putting in your body. Just like with drugs, like food is just another drug in that kind of sense, especially these like ultra colorful, like quote unquote foods, which like, let's be real, it's not real food. It's just like something to keep us alive and taste really good. But, you know, it's supposed to be a treat. Like treat it like a treat. Don't treat it like sustenance, because it's not. If you look at it like sustenance, that's like relying on a drug for something. And like, you don't really want to rely on a drug for things. You know, try to stay in control. But anyways, the last two things on this list are COVID-19, which I thought was really interesting. Apparently, there's new research showing that when you get COVID, the virus can live in your gut after your symptoms resolve. And that changes your gut's microbiome, which can affect the amount of serotonin that you produce, which, I mean, like serotonin is involved in a lot of these drugs that we talk about. So obviously that can give you brain fog, I guess, but it's, I don't know. COVID's kind of scary, man. And then the last thing, which probably comes as no surprise to y'all, is stress. Like if you're stressed, that can cause brain fog. I'm sure there's a bunch of mechanisms in play there, but yeah,
absolutely.
Stress, inflammation.
Yeah, no, I was curious if
trying to keep it
you looked into like alcohol as well in terms of brain fog related things. Because I know like one of the biggest benefits that I got when I quit drinking was even like 2 to 3 weeks after my last drink, like I could still feel just my head getting like slowly and steadily clearer. And I mean, shit, the way I used to feel after a night of drinking was like just so lethargic and my brain was just so dead. Like, I mean, that's a hangover, right? But to me, that's like a very egregious form of brain fog. I think I would call it.
Yeah, no, I mean, alcohol is like a known one, actually. It did come up in my research. I just like, it's just like alcohol is just like a poison, man. Like that's not even surprising to me at all that it causes brain fog like that. But actually, interestingly enough, it didn't seem to cause that same long-term brain fog that you can get by like smoking weed long-term. So I guess there's that upside to it, or lack of a downside. But I mean, honestly, who knows? Brain fog is so nebulous that like I wouldn't be surprised if there were long-term effects of alcohol. But even if there are, it seems like the research shows it's not the same way weed does it. Weed will definitely give you brain fog if you keep smoking for a long time. And then on that topic of other drugs, I was trying to see if like stimulants can like alleviate brain fog, right? A lot of people like they'll drink coffee in the morning because they have brain fog, or like they'll take like some Adderall or something like that, right? It seems like they kind of do, you know, because they like increase your dopamine and stuff, can make you more alert. I imagine it's the same with nicotine. Just stimulants in general. But, you know, that's
exactly.
We all know like stimulants are just kind of a band-aid, like a temporary fix thing. Like you're going to get your dopamine spike and then it's going to go away. So it's like, that's not really solving the problem here. At the end of the day, like it really comes down to lifestyle. Like all of the things that I mentioned that can cause brain fog are all related to your lifestyles. Just kind of monitor what you're doing and you'll probably be able to figure out what's causing your brain fog like pretty easily.
Just like widely cited advice for increasing your longevity and just better quality of life. And literally it just comes down to like such simple things. It's like getting good sleep every night, diet and exercise. That's literally like 99% of the equation. And I know like every once in a while I'll go down a rabbit hole looking at just like supplements, like health stuff, you know, like pretty healthy guy, like I'm fit, I want to like take some supplements. And literally like supplements are the last like 0.2% of the equation. And it's like, if you don't have those other like giant things on lock, your sleep, your diet, your exercise, then the supplements are going to fucking do shit, because you just like, like 99% of it are those three things that I
Right. Dude, 100%, bro. Not 100%, like 100% of. You get what I'm saying? Like, I totally agree is what I'm saying. And that's how I feel about the CBD thing, Like, I think it's similar to the supplement conversation where it doesn't really matter if the other things aren't in place. And actually, in my research, the other thing that came up that can help with brain fog was lion's mane mushrooms. You can get those in most places now. It's just like a popular supplement. But once again, supplementation is like a small fraction of what's actually going to help here. Like, if you're not managing your stress, sleeping enough, and eating properly, it doesn't really matter what you do. And I don't know about you, man, but like, I've had days where I'm really on my shit, like for like, let's say like a week or two, I'm like super fucking on it. I'm like working out every day, like cardio and weightlifting. I'm eating super clean, like eating a ton of vegetables, like even eating vegan and shit. And like, I'll have days when I wake up during those, I don't know what you want to call it, like periods of me just like being on my shit. And I am so fucking mentally clear. Like it's crazy. Like way more clear than I've ever been, like taking a stimulant like Adderall or something like that. It's just like, I have so much energy and I can think so clearly, and I'm just like locked in on whatever I'm going to do. Like I can enter flow state like nothing. And once you experience that, you really don't want to go back, bro. But it's so easy to fall back into just like eating junk food, or like you just like don't get enough sleep like one day or something. And it's just so easy to forget how good you felt, because like, I don't know, I feel like our bodies just like adapt to like the new normal, like immediately. So like, if you feel super sharp and super good, it becomes normal after like a few days, right? And then you forget that like, you only feel that way because you're actually taking care of yourself. And then once you stop taking care of yourself and you feel like shit, that shit feeling becomes a new normal, and you almost forget how good you felt.
I resonate with that on
yourself.
The aspect of like weekdays.
I don't know if you have experience like that, but
like that's where I really struggle with that consistency, because it's like, ideally you literally go to sleep and wake up at the same time every single day, and you're, fairly on top of your stuff every single day. I do my weekdays, like I am on my shit, like pretty consistently. By weekends, I'm out late. I'm like doing drugs, not getting good sleep. And I have felt very viscerally how my sleep quality is by far the biggest determinant of my brain fog, or hopefully lack thereof. Like, dude, literally, I went to this freaking show this past Sunday night. So my favorite DJs was playing. Fucking crushed it. You're supposed to play until 1 a.m. and I'm going until 2:30 because it's just vibing so hard. And it was on a Sunday night, dude. And like, like it's like honestly the first at least 2, maybe more days of my week are just like very tough. And obviously I'm like emphasizing trying to like catch up on more sleep. But dude, like that Monday was freaking rough. And especially as I get older and I have less of that like just like youthful energy to just be like, fuck it. I can ignore that I'm tired and just like still, show up, like knock out work, like be productive, go to the gym, etc. But man, even like, now a few years later, I feel that weighing on me, and it's like I can't focus on anything. I don't want to do shit. I just want to lay in bed and like I'll watch YouTube or something, and it sucks. And so I'm trying to get like a little bit more regulated on weekdays versus weekends. But at the end of the day, like just about everyone's weekend schedule is pretty different from your weekday schedule, and like that's unfortunately a reality of our society. And
the weekday,
the way I've tried to level that out is, if I'm going to go out on the weekend, I try to make Friday like the main going out night. I try to do Saturdays a little bit more chill, where hopefully I'm in bed by like 1 or 2 a.m. at the latest. And then Sunday night, go to sleep early. And then that really helps like try to like flatten out this like peak of the weekend going into like Monday and Tuesday. Whereas like I hate going ham on Saturday nights, because I'm like, dude, I'm going to wake up at like 2 p.m. on Sunday and I'm going to feel like shit. I'm not going to do anything productive. I'm not going to feel ready to prepare for the week. And then I'm going to try to go to sleep early on Sunday. But it's like, if I slept in a lot on Sunday morning, then it might be harder for me to fall asleep Sunday night. If I'm trying to go to bed at like a reasonable like 10 o'clock. Yeah. No. And it's, dude, I have such a like stance
dude, you're right.
going on Saturdays. And this is a hill I will die on. And I've slowly converted more of my friends to this. And usually we're pretty good about it. But I mean, every once in a while, something you want to go to on a Saturday, I mean, shit, this past weekend, there was something I like really wanted to be out on Sunday. And I was like, this is a sacrifice I'm intentionally willing to make. So I'm going to see this artist and it's going to completely fuck my Monday, maybe my Tuesday. But, that was a sacrifice I was knowingly making. And, I think being aware of that is more than half the battle, because then I can kind of plan the rest of my week to try to like catch up on sleep more effectively and really make sure I'm getting, like freaking 9 hours a night for at least the next couple of days.
Dude, that's how I am with like tripping, to be honest. Like I found myself not wanting to trip on Saturdays anymore, especially like acid or something that lasts a long time, and just like only wanting to do it on a Friday because then I can like, like stay up on Friday a little longer and not feel too bad about it. Like sleep in on Saturday and still be fine by the time I have to go to work on Monday. Like,
it's funny that we came to the same conclusion.
I feel you, man. Yeah, for real. But yeah, sleep's important. Honestly, what you said about like the number one determinant of your brain fog being how much sleep you got, I agree with that. Like for sure. In my personal experience, sleep is like so fucking important. And also just like the first thing to fall off for most people. So no surprise there, I guess. Well, what's y'all's experience with brain fog? Let us know in the comments. That's today's pod.
You've been listening to Modern Day Hippie. As you exit the portal, we have just one small ask of you. If you learned something new today, had a laugh, or resurfaced a drug story of your own, we want to hear about it. Drop us a comment on YouTube and show us some love on your favorite podcasting platforms. Internet algorithms really dog on us because of the topics that we discuss, so your support goes even further here than you might think. We'll catch you next week.